Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Obvious Podcast, episode number 58. My name is Sonny Macon.
And I'm Peter Dyga. Great to see you all again and our listeners.
Absolutely.
Great to have you.
Just so you know, all the opinions are our own, and if they aren't, we'll tell you.
So happy Friday. What bland, non-controversial subject are we going to talk about?
Well, I mean, you know what Monday is, right?
I do. It's an actual holiday at ABC.
At ABC.
Paid holiday for employees. So
Our
it's
team
Columbus
is,
Day.
yeah, it's Columbus Day.
So, yep.
So we figured we'll talk about Columbus, right? Because we have, as you know, rarely we take on controversial topics at the Obvious. So we decided to.
A recent one was actually, we were joking before the tape started rolling, to use an old expression, because there's no tape anymore.
Right. It's all digital now.
We were talking about, recent podcasts where we talked about the brands and the people that hate them.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great episode.
It was a great episode, and it's kind of related to today. The American brand.
The American brand.
In a way. The Columbus, however you want to say it. Cologne, Columbia. The District of Columbia is named after him.
Oh, don't tell them that now.
I don't know if they knew that, but Columbia so.
They're going to lose their mind. Yeah. My gosh,
Columbo, the old detective.
Yes.
That's Columbus.
He was a
lot of different languages, a lot of different ways of saying it, but it's all named after the great explorer.
Yes. Christopher Columbus,
and
the Italian from Verona or wherever. I don't know where he was. Genoa, yeah. Of course, he was lost. He really wasn't looking for America. Right? Like most great things, it was discovered by accident. And it's, look, obviously we're going to delve into the controversy around him and how his entire image has been reimagined in modern day and modern culture. As you know, I'm a big fan of The Sopranos, and I got into that show late, but there's one episode in there where he loses his mind about Columbus Day, about the Italians.
Yeah, it's pretty important to the Italian Americans. Yeah. So for sure. So, but even we talked earlier about something we're going to have to cover in this episode. The whole idea of judging people at any point in time.
By today's values.
By the values at the moment. Whenever that conversation is being had, and even as you said. He discovered what he thought was the West Indies, or in India.
India, yeah.
Which is why they were named Indians and whatnot. He thought he was circumventing the globe. One of the misconceptions that the world at that time, the predominant prevailing theory was flat Earth. That in fact is not true. They pretty much had a good idea that the Earth was round, which is why. They really you can't judge people by what they knew at the time, which all they knew was the European and Asian continent.
That's right.
They knew if they went far enough east, they would run into India, but they were looking for a shorter way.
Yep, exactly.
And so that wouldn't happen on a flat Earth for one. So, they knew. He knew very well. He was a very experienced navigator and sailor.
The Cleveland Indians still called the Cleveland Indians?
No,
they changed their name too?
Yeah.
Wow. By the way, and
they're
I can tell you, they called the what?
The Guardians. It's the stupidest.
What a terrible name. Oh, they make the Washington Commanders sound so much better than the Guardians. But
as we've talked about, the media is like lapdogs. It gets right in line, though. Yeah. Could you ever count on somebody at ESPN calling them the Indians anymore?
The Indians weren't complaining about it, right? Because they weren't how dare, and I mean,
no, some of them are actually wanting.
I mean the original Indians, the ones Columbus was looking for.
Oh yeah.
Like they weren't upset by it, and and the Native Americans. Right. I'm just saying that for clarification purposes because I want to call both sides Indians, and people are confused. The Native Americans weren't upset by it. I know. I saw a story about the Washington Commanders.
Right.
The guy who was their actual logo, one of his ancestors, is trying to get him back, right? And he's like, "This is insane. Like, it's a sign of honor for us. Like, we're not upset by this."
It's funny, in a way, isn't it, that this whole woke crowd, we did a show on the brands, and we didn't even bring them up.
Yeah.
Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
There are some other.
Land O'Lakes lady.
Land O'Lakes.
They took her off. Like, what has she done? It's butter, man.
It's an Indian or a lady?
Native American.
Native American, yeah. So, in any event, it's funny how all the minority ones somehow get the boot. Whatever, but Uncle Cracker or whatever his name was, Uncle Herschel.
Herschel. Herschel.
Uncle Herschel, he survived. The white guy survives, but the people of color, they get the hook. So even though the actual people of color are saying, no, we like the Washington Redskins guy logo.
It wasn't insulting to be,
Lord,
I mean,
help us.
Aunt Jemima and Cyril, I grew up on Aunt Jemima. Like,
So they've been after Christopher Columbus for
a long time.
for the same reason, and trying to soil a man who was a very devout Christian, Catholic Christian. You know, I mean, he was a very courageous navigator and sailor, and the things that he did really should be, with a fair mind.
right.
It's actually a story of much of human history.
Right.
Of
Can we? You just made a comment about the fair mind. Can we just talk about the he gets for bringing diseases to?
that's one of the most disingenuous arguments.
It's exploration, right? No matter who explores where in that time.
And okay, so let's go with that and think. Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean today the North American continent would be disease free?
Right.
I mean, no. At some point the world was going to come together, and so really, I guess they just didn't like the timing of it. I don't know. It's one of the most disingenuous, arguments.
By the way, I read an article.
And don't forget also that most Indian cultures or tribes, I think, actually had self-sacrifice.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I mean, I think almost all of them, almost universally, had self-sacrifice. They were sacrificing humans.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
okay, because it's
Yeah, it's not a disease. It's not a disease.
It's a native cultural trait we should all preserve.
Right. These are the things that make this show uncontroversial,
I do
because
wanna
we
say-
kind of state the obvious. I mean, it is kind of anyway.
No, I got to make my point about syphilis, and that's a phrase I have never ever uttered in my life before.
Okay.
Probably never will.
Hopefully.
Read an article about 2 months ago in The Guardian, which is a British publication.
Okay.
There was some cultural anthropologist type anthrobiologist, I think was the title. And they basically found syphilis in the Americas like 9,000 years before Columbus even showed up. And the new thing, I know Columbus took a lot of heat for bringing syphilis here to the
Right.
from Europe to the Americas. But then now they're saying that the opposite is true, that he took it back to Europe.
Yeah.
And his
Really-
people took it back to Europe.
Yeah. Really gave it new. I don't know. Whatever. Fill in the new.
But then, okay, fine, that's
beginning.
true or not true.
Yeah.
How is that even remotely relevant? Like,
No, I've never. Even when I was much younger, because this argument's been around a long time. Again, back to the point of judging people too by slavery and a lot of
right.
Anyway, back to my point of really the story, in my opinion, of Christopher Columbus is a human story, of somebody with, a very devout Christian man, but who fell.
Yeah.
Because it's true. There were some things later on out of desperation, and who knows what kind of madness and desperation you may have faced.
Could have been
that-
syphilis you picked up here. We don't know.
but it's not. Nobody has ever said, whether it's Christopher Columbus or anyone else, that we hold in high esteem. George Washington. I don't know. Fill in the blank.
But this nonsense, like, oh, they weren't perfect, then
Right.
they shouldn't exist, or they shouldn't be a part of history.
Right. Or that we shouldn't celebrate their accomplishments and their
And by
achievements.
the way, they're so upset at Florida and at this administration about wanting to not dwell too much on, the education piece, the whole Tran piece. And they're like, oh, you're trying to just rewrite history. You're trying to pretend. Man, you guys have been doing nothing but rewriting history.
Well, it's back to my
Right.
Saul Alinsky, or is that who it?
Saul
the
Alinsky.
saying about blame the other side for what you're doing.
what you're doing.
So, no doubt about it. They've been kind of rewriting history for a long
Did you
time.
get Columbus Day off when you were in school?
I think so. Yeah, I think
I think in my high school is when it switched. When I was in high school, I think my freshman year and this was in the 90s.
I mean, it's still a federal holiday, right? I think a bank holiday.
Bank holiday. Yeah.
But yeah,
most things are
schools
remote.
getting off for it, or most employers. So, but
And we're not saying, and just to be clear, we're not saying he was perfect and he did everything right. Like,
yep,
times and the age that people live in, they contribute, like for everybody, to a level of complexity. And
yep. And I want to make this point, although this gets into even another controversial side conversation, which is I find it ironic that he in large part he and the people behind him, the Queen and King of Spain, and all the other interests, if you will, were largely, I'm not saying entirely or solely, in fact, initially it might not have been this, but certainly by the second trip it was, were largely inspired by the desire to evangelize.
Yes.
Oh boy, is that controversial.
But
the irony is the Catholic Church is criticized. There's a whole evangelical community, that's about evangelizing and take it very seriously, as all Christians are supposed to.
Well, it's the Great Commission, right?
So that's right. It's the Great Commission. So, well, here you have a point in history where they're largely motivated by evangelizing to the world, the four corners of the world, is east, west, north, and south.
Yep.
So you could disagree with that, as a lot of people do today, but that's what motivated him. And in large part what motivated the whole endeavor.
Okay, if we're going to talk about the Great Commission and its impact, and you and I have had this conversation, you can go into the most desolate parts of Africa or Asia or Europe, and you will find orphanages and hospitals and clinics that was started by missionaries.
Sure.
Right? The history of compassion, again, they're not perfect, right? Nobody's claiming that they were perfect, but the history of compassion on a large sort of scale that the missionaries brought was tremendous.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think
now, I'm sure
orphanages, hospitals, schools, universities, they're all kind of founded by, Christians, if you will. So,
but you just can't hang your hat on, well, they were all racist, or they were all this, or they were all that.
Or they brought disease.
I mean, if your whole main point is that they brought disease, then nobody should go anywhere.
Right, exactly.
Stay put.
That's my point.
So,
what would, what do they
sent us COVID? We should all just stop traveling. Ban air travel. Oh, I remember when Trump tried to do that. Oh, never mind. That was racist. Yeah. So if you travel, you're racist. If you don't travel, you're racist.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just thinking more, about the objection to, people today. For example, would anybody argue today that human sacrifice is a good thing? Are they really? I don't think on the surface, and we've done shows in the past about what people truly believe and how they act versus what they're publicly willing to say. And I'm saying, I think we do have people today that are for human sacrifice, but I don't think publicly they say that. I don't think publicly anybody comes out and says we need to bring back, sacrificing humans at the top of the pyramid and ripping out their hearts and throwing them over the, nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to even say the equivalent in modern day, although there's some. We could get into the. I
don't know if somebody would say that. I think somebody would say that. I think absolutely. I think if you were from some Native American tribe and you were like, hey man, this is what my tribe believes, how dare you impose your Western values on my tribe, and my tribe wants to do human sacrifice, I think there'd be some liberals that would defend it. Absolutely. Or leftists. I got to stop saying liberals. But there would be some leftists that would defend it, for sure.
That could be a show. Could we find them and interview them?
Let's interview them.
That would be.
I have no doubt somebody would be like.
You're probably right. There's something but by and large, most people would not defend that today, and that came about and changed largely because of the Westernization, if you will, of the Americas. Yeah,
but then that doesn't make sense. If you're going to defend other people's cultural values and everybody's cultural values are equally valid, then what gives you the right to draw the line at human sacrifice?
No, that's a great question.
Right? If it's all the same.
Yeah, if you think they're all the same.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they're all the same.
Right.
Because I've seen some pretty shitty cultural values around the world. But if you think they're all the same and you're some sort of
And we're back to ironies, as we often are on this. The irony of the woke crowd or the DEI or the left of center group is, the whole tolerance is really an outpouring of the Western Christian values, really, in a lot of ways. That doesn't mean toleration doesn't mean, that they're equally true. Right? This is the distinction that I think a lot of people can't make for some reason. I don't know why they can't make it, but toleration of different things doesn't mean that they're all true or that they're all equal in value. All right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. Did you ever read or see the movie The Kite Runner?
I'm not sure. I might have.
It's about a pair of friends growing up in Afghanistan just as the Soviets have invaded.
Okay.
Won a lot of prizes. Okay. It's a really good book. And the wealthy child escapes to America. His best friend and the best friend's father worked for the wealthy Afghan.
Okay.
Ends up being left behind, and in the movie, they show him being caught up. There's this whole thing in Afghanistan in their culture where they like to take boys and basically dress them up as girls.
Yeah.
And they indulge in child abuse.
That got a little bit of attention, like in, I don't know, several years ago. I think I remember a little bit of
So they're literally, they call it, in Afghanistan, they call it bacha. Bacha, which is literally the word for child.
Okay.
Bazi, which is the word for game.
Okay.
So they call it a child game, right? And it's literally them playing with kids.
Wow.
And
when we mean playing, you don't mean...
No, I mean sexually, playing with kids.
Right.
And I remember... I mean, I knew that just from reading and all that, but when I read the book and then I saw the movie, and you know, I can't remember one leftist or media story,
Great
or
example.
anybody talking about, hey, the U.S. is in Afghanistan. Why don't we do something about this problem, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of well known in that part of the world.
This is a phenomenal conversation in and of itself, or topic, if you will. You know, the universal truths.
Yeah.
Are there universal truths? You know, and some people will simplify that argument into, people who believe in absolutes, moral absolutes versus moral relativism.
Relativism.
All right. And this is where people who generally right of center are more conservative as opposed to leftists or left of center, believe in certain moral certitudes, right? Absolute moral things. But it's a great topic because there are some people that just deny it. They deny that. And so if you were to say, the murder of an innocent person or the sexual abuse of a child. I mean, if we can't agree and again, I think it's the point you're trying to make. It's not.
It's a meandering point, but it's a
meandering point, which is some cultures don't find the distinction,
right,
and it's in large part Western Christianity. I think that's.
Been a positive influence,
right? For what most people would regard. Now that's to the point. A lot of these, I think, kooky people would be like, "Well, it's just because of your culture that you believe that," you know.
Right.
So anyway, it's a phenomenal conversation that I listen to a lot more, kind of religious or faith-based podcasts and whatnot in my life, and I've heard this argument made a lot of times, about can we, if we as a people can't decide on certain absolute moral truths, we've got bigger problems.
We got massive problems, right?
Yeah. And up to relatively recently, I think we could have. I mean, nobody would have argued that, let's say, the rape, of a child was morally wrong under all circumstances.
Yeah, and there's big controversy now in England. Rape is literally sort of being excused as a cultural truth that. I just saw a story recently about a guy who ended up not getting jail time because he was seen as a frustrated immigrant.
Wow.
And so the rape was just a natural outflow of his frustration.
Right. Wow.
And they let him out. Yeah. Some Somali guy, Somali, I think. I don't.
Yeah.
But it was in England that this happened, and you're seeing it now. They're covering up because the fact that they don't want rape to be seen as a cultural. Given a cultural excuse, they're hiding it. Yeah. It's even happening.
Phenomenal.
People would lose their minds.
So we're getting close to the end of our time, and I wanted to kind of wrap it, or come full circle and talk about, so what do we have to celebrate, in terms of Columbus? I mean, to me, he was a tremendous man of faith, who in his mind, and again, when we have this conversation, and in a lot of the conversations we have at The Obvious, it's like you got to put aside your modern sensibilities, all right? So, but this is a man who was doing what he and most people of his time, which was evangelizing. And we brought a lot of modern Western Christian values, I think, to this part of the world. When we practice them, he and his compadres or fellow sailors or men that followed him followed those values, it was a positive thing. The times when they didn't, it was a negative thing. And we're not ashamed, we're not afraid to talk about their failings as individuals.
And nobody's saying they were perfect.
Right. So, but the fact that the courage that he had, people don't realize the immense amount of courage it took for him and those men to, for the first time in history, most navigation was hugging to coasts.
Yeah.
And so the eastern part of the Atlantic, all the way from Iceland and down the English coasts and the European coasts, and even the upper African continent, that navigation was pretty well done. But nobody had ever sailed out away from land for practically a month.
Yeah.
I think before
more than a month,
before they actually hit land, and
yeah.
that had never been done before. That he was convinced that he was going to eventually hit, India or China or Japan or whatnot. So the tremendous amount of courage, again with our modern sensibilities, that not a whole lot of navigational expertise and whatnot.
He didn't have satellites or navigations.
Yeah.
One thing I'm gonna, and this is my last point for this show. I had read in my brief research on this episode was that one of the things his discovery of the Americas did, it really fueled European economic expansion, right?
Yeah.
And that expansion was critical in it funding the Renaissance and getting out of the Dark Ages. And then the global trade networks that developed really gave birth to modern capitalism. So if you're in any way a capitalist, this is a weekend for you to celebrate.
That's great.
Right.
I love that.
So
I love that.
You can thank Columbus for that.
Yep. And by the way, I think at least 100 years before other European explorers or settlers had actually crossed the North Atlantic, a lot of the vestiges of his original success and the people that he left behind still bear the marks in the names.
Yeah.
If you've got Saint or Son or something in the name, it's probably because of that. And all the way from the California missionaries and up the West Coast even.
And all the islands in the Caribbean.
All the islands,
Yep.
I think
the District of Columbia is going to be pretty upset when they find out who they're named after.
So, they're a victim of their own stupidity.
I guarantee you.
In this particular case. But that's where it comes from. Even isn't there a movie chain or producers or film?
Columbia Pictures.
Columbia Pictures.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we really enjoyed this episode. We want to wish you a great weekend. And if you're off on Columbus Day, enjoy it, do some research, have some Italian food.
Celebrate, that'd be great. Celebrate the spirit of, of exploring, of bravery, risk-taking, of Western values that we all, whether we want to admit where they came from, they're instilled in us. And I think they've for the better part of the globe.
And they've been transformative.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Those are obvious things that you don't hear too much about, but they're obvious to us.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we appreciate having you. Please be sure you subscribe so that you get notices every Friday when a new episode comes out. Tell your friends who might enjoy this show. And until next time,
take care.
See you. Ciao.